Hello. I want to dog onto my video I made last night, which is extremely important. If we do these steps that I said to do, then things can heal up very, very quickly. But I'm afraid this is probably not gonna happen. But anyway, I make these videos to reach out, to give this message to others. Please pass this message on to other people. Become a speaker of some sort, a teacher. Make videos, people, don't just sit there idly and do your own business and just let, things unravel in a bad way in the world, because you and every one of you is responsible to at least try to help, at least give something of your knowledge and your research and your time to 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 pass on this message of healing things and the way we heal things. Everything can be healed with physical touch and with communication, with real communication, not with snarky, sarcastic stuff. That's not communication at all. It's anti-communication. To be sarcastic or to be insulting and to be violently angry and throwing insults at other people and ending sentences with a name calling or something. That completely voids the whole statement. If we want to communicate with one another, we have to really do away with the insults and the snarkiness and this incredibly mean, angry attitude that has to go, or we cannot communicate with one another. We have to address the critical issues. We have to be able to say, look, this is not working for me. This is not working for the world. The way humans interact in general is not working to make things better for all of us. It just makes things worse and worse and worse and worse. A single person lashing out at other people, he might think, oh, I'm just retaliating. It makes me feel refreshed or whatever. It makes me feel better if I do an preemptive strike at someone else, at another being, then I can, whatever he feels, then, he can feel refreshed. I heard people say these things to me. I cannot relate to this. But I guess it is out of this feeling of they have been abused their whole lives. So then when they abuse someone else, they feel like they're in charge or something, but it's incredibly illusionary. It's not real. So they will do preemptive striking also, to out of that attitude, if I strike first, if I insult that person, then I cannot be insulted. But it's exactly reversed. The reality is reversed. If you insult someone, chances are very high that other person will take offense and insult you back. And then you have a big war going on. And I see it all the time happening with young people and old people too. So it's incredible. When I was petitioning for the whales in LA, each time Paul came into the scene, he would get into a hefty argument with someone. And it's also a bit of a competitor type of thing, So the other person who had been talking to me for half an hour and bragging himself up is now challenged by this dude that's suddenly coming into the picture, and they go like, who is that dude, and what does he want from me, and why am I being challenged here? And So, and Paul will get into, he won't let go, you know, he's very resistant, and he will get into the person's face, and he will go like this until the forefinger is right at that person's nose. And the other person's forefinger is right at Paul's nose. I've seen this, you know, with my own eyes, and it's ridiculous. It's like two balls banging their horns, and it doesn't do any good. It's not moving things forward. It's not rational. It is not thought through. It's not prefrontal. It's just it's a short circuit between the hippocampus and the amygdala. You know, we want to avoid these kind of situations. We want to think about our words before we say them. We want to think about very carefully about what I'm thinking right now, and if I say this, what are the implications of that, what I'm going to be saying to that other person? How is she or he going to perceive this? And are they going to perceive this in a constructive way or in a deconstructive way? Deconstructive in a negative sense, I mean. We need complete deconstruction of society right now, because that what we have right now is not working, so that has to be deconstructed. Then we have to reconstruct it in a constructive way, and not in a deconstructive way as it is right now. Right now it is deconstructed in a negative way. So the deconstructive state of society has to be deconstructed in order to reconstruct and recycle this old stuff into something that is constructive and positive, okay, and creative and co-creative and working and functioning. So the way people interact with each other is insanely adverse and hurtful, and leads to wars of all sorts, civil wars, uproars, people starting to riot, people throwing bombs in the Middle East at each other, people running over other people with vehicles. I mean, it's just happening all the time, and you think that your behavior towards other people, your snarky behavior, isn't going to change any of that, or isn't going to make it worse. That's a wrong perception. Your snarky comments to other people on the internet are adding to this stream of sorrow that is already happening. If you want to not add to the problems anymore, you have to go within yourselves. You have no other choice. You have to introspect, you have to think about what the implications are of that, what you're saying to other people, of how you interact with other people, you know, whether you are abusive psychologically, or insulting, or violent, or whether you are understanding of other people, where they're coming from, and introspective. What have I done wrong? How can I do it better? Tony Robbins also talks about it. Thich Nhat Hanh talks about it. Eckhart Tolle, Pema Chodron, and most of all, Jiddu Krishnamurti. I recommend to people to listen to those conversations between Jiddu Krishnamurti, David Bohm, David Shainberg, and Rupert Sheldrake, and many other people that are amazing. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche also. He had several conversations with him also at UC San Diego. Very, very, very powerful conversations. Listen to those conversations. I could see that Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche was, it was all completely making sense to him what Jiddu Krishnamurti was talking about. He did not even feel the need to add anything, to add very much. Some people criticize this conversation, said it's lopsided or whatever. Chogyam Trungpa didn't say anything, but it's because he was in complete agreement with him. He already knew that this is what it is. This is how it is. He didn't even have any more questions much to ask. He was sitting there and he was absorbing it all, and it was completely resonating with that what he already knew, what he already experienced. So if this is the case for you, then this is fantastic. It will help you a whole lot. But if these conversations leave a whole lot of questions, then please address these questions. I have to emphasize this so severely to the public, you know. If you have a question, if you feel uncomfortable with something, or something leaves you empty-handed, or with the void, or with some sense of doom or gloom or feeling of unease, then there's something open-ended, then there's a question looming inside of you. Dig that question out. Okay? Don't just go, oh, this is making me uncomfortable, I'm gonna turn it off, I'm triggered, I'm gonna turn it off, I want to feel better, let me go and get myself make myself a cheese pizza to drown out that pain. You know, that's not gonna work. Get a vegan pizza with tofu and do some introspection and do some meditating and ask some really potent question and empower yourselves. Okay, and ask the question, why is this making me feel uncomfortable? What about that made me feel so uneasy? Or why are these thoughts coming up? Why am I suddenly associating this with my dad or my uncle? Why suddenly I think about how I was insulted in the past, and why is this coming up now? And I think it's associated with that, and instead of saying, oh, this is just triggering my old pain, I'm gonna run away, you say, this is triggering my old pain or my insecurities, or maybe it triggers the feeling that they are right and they're making me feel inadequate, or they're making me feel stupid because I see that they're right and now I'm feeling stupid. You know, this is a terrible thing when people are stuck in that kind of rut. I've seen it all, you know, when someone is in a friendly way suggesting something and then just happens to step on someone else's ego and make that other person feel stupid. For example, in chat rooms, when people are preaching Christianity to me and I give them some very crystal clear facts on evolution and global warming, and then they want to murder me, they really want to murder me then, because it makes them feel completely stupid and like a loser, and they told me that. Some people even told me that. I'm glad they told me this, because that's the first thing to open up to people. But, you know, some people are very quick in their response to say that, which I'm grateful for, but then there are other people who will not even say that, because then the brain goes, if I would say this, that you made me feel stupid, then I will make myself even more vulnerable. And so I can't even say that. I have to be sitting there grinding my teeth. And this is what's happening with humanity. This exact scenario. And this is not leading us forward in any way. You know, it just makes things a whole lot worse. It makes things so bad that people will at some point explode. And if they don't explode outwardly and kill others, then they will kill themselves, or they will take drugs, or they will be making mean comments or trolling people just non-stop on the internet to steam out that rage. So this is what's going on, and even, yeah, they think sticks and stones can hurt you and words never can is an outdated and completely false statement. We have seen now that words can kill people and kill people all the time. So don't contribute to this stream of sorrow and the horrors that are going on, and 8-year-old children or teenagers committing suicide because of internet bullying and peer pressure and all of this. So this is absolutely real. It is a real issue, a real problem. And Hillary Clinton and Melania and Ivanka are very, very dedicated to address this issue and find a way to dissolve this. And I'm helping with my videos as much as I possibly can. I'm giving you the causalities that are connected to this. I'm giving you the root causes for this behavior so that we know how to trace this back and detect it and say, okay, this is where it started. This is the underlying issue, the underlying problem. Let's dissolve it. Let's dissolve it once and for all. And the underlying issue under people bullying other people is that the bullies are hurting, that they have been hurt by their parents. They didn't get enough touch. If they had gotten enough touch, they would not be bullying people. It's as simple as this. Very simple, actually. It's shockingly simple. People don't want to acknowledge this, because also they don't want to look back and acknowledge that they were bad parents. That's also a very big one for a lot of people, you know, to look back and say, oh, I made so many mistakes, I messed it all up. To say that takes a lot of inner strength and grandness to come to that level where you can actually say that. It takes a lot of courage. And I have to emphasize this to you. Take that courage. You have nothing to lose. If you don't take the courage, things are going to dwindle further and further down towards the future. And humanity is going to completely devastate itself, completely bring everything to a ruin. And why? Why should we do this? You know? Why should we do this if we can introspect and take up the courage? Why make the ego more important than someone killing themselves, or the animals in the factory farm gruesomely dying, and you don't say anything because you want to be this badass macho guy, this carnivore? I've heard it all, people, you know, in person and on the internet, men saying, I'm a carnivore. Yeah, this is the self-image. Don't you see this? This is the self-image of a boy who had been very, very badly insulted and hurt by his dad and intimidated into believing that you gotta be macho or you're not respected or you're not loved. And then he grows up to become this totally twisted brain, macho behavior, and he thinks he needs to eat meat. He's already 500 pounds. I know a person like this. This is incredibly tragic. He's not that bad of a person if you dig down. There's some real broken, sensitive person underneath. 500 pounds, that already tells you that there's something terribly wrong psychologically. But he has to say to me, I'm a carnivore, and he's very, very proud about that. Not realizing that this makes me want to go home and puke. I would never be interested in a guy like that, who has to drive a trolley in a supermarket because he can't even walk, but says to me, I'm a carnivore, and he's gonna die from a heart attack in a couple of years. I mean, it's like, this is what I mean, people put the ego above their own bodies, their own well-being of their own selves, above anything, above the well-being of others, animals and people, above the well-being of the whole planet. They put the ego before peace on earth. I've seen it all. This should be a red flag for everyone. Don't put your ego and your shit pride above the well-being of this planet. People murder scientists who are working with weather patterns and stuff like this. Because of their egos, they are hurt about scientists saying that we have a real serious situation with our weather patterns, okay, which is caused by industrial pollution and fossil fuels into the atmosphere. And there is a group of people who are spreading propaganda against it, and it's a extreme right-wing think tank and a corporate collaboration together with market psychologists to spread this way of thinking into their target group is, of course, all right-wing people. But not all right-wing people personally, financially benefit from this type of thinking. Most people don't. It's only a small percentage, and they're not even religious. They just use religion to get into people's brains. So they will put this propaganda out through talk radio, which is there's some asshole right-wing talk radio host, at least one in every rural community, who will spread that corporate propaganda full force. And then, the average blue-collar worker, right-wing, redneck Republican in rural US who lives in a trailer home, has his dog tied up outside, doesn't see the connection at all, doesn't see the need of the dog to need touch and love, and he sits there and watches a sports broadcasting in his undershirt with a beer bottle in his hand, and he is ranting and raging against women and against gay people and against other ethnicities other than his own, of course, and against the liberals, the tree huggers, and he just goes to war with all of them. And he goes right on the right-wing radio, and they will make him more and more angry. So, and he absorbs that more and more and more and more, until he will take his dirty, stinking pickup truck and runs over people towards the end of his life. When some people at 60, some people around 80, in their 80s, that's when it finally explodes. So, is that what we want to do, or do we want to say, no, I don't think my ego is that important. I think it's more important that the other sentient beings are protected from suffering. It is better, let me face ridicule. Let me, if I say something and I will get ridiculed, so be it. It's better if I say something and be ridiculed, but at least I said something, and maybe we can get a petition together. Maybe we can stop eating meat. Maybe we can urge the legislation to ban active sonar and the slaughter houses and the mass producing of farm animals, and let them, and never breed them again, and let them free, and never round up wild horses again, and never hurt any animal again. Let them ridicule me, let them call me gay, which they always do, but at least I said something. So if we can get to that point, I guarantee you, it's my guarantee, that the world will heal. If most people start doing this, then other people will be very bewildered first, and very confused, and there'll be a lot of name calling and a lot of hate slinging and mudslinging going on. But stand your ground. Stand your ground if you care. Don't go to those redneck bars anymore. Go to different places if you want to hang around people. Go to you can even go to a church and ask them to give you the chance to say something in front of other people, and say something in front of them. Say that true love is to free other living beings from suffering. Isn't this what we're really wanting here? Is to create a better world? To listen to Jesus and to heal things and to prevent suffering? Isn't this what we're here for? Or why are we here? Is this to date someone, or to barbecue, or to brag? Or what is this whole conglomeration all about? Or can we bring our thoughts together with the real meaning of religion? It's religio, bringing your thoughts and experiences together in one group, and everyone says, this is what I've been going through for the last week, and this is what I experienced, and these are the questions that came out of this, and maybe you guys have an answer for this question. This is true communication. Let's get this rolling. Go anywhere. Go into any kind of religious group and say something. If they kick you out, good, then you at least tried. But say something. Say, let's make the world a better place. Why are you here? What is the meaning of your conglomeration? Jehovah's Witnesses, or Seventh-day Adventists, or Pentecostal, or Catholic, or whatever these different groups are. What is the meaning behind your congregation? Is it just to not feel alone? Is it to gain power over others? Or is it to make the world a better place? Let's all get together, It doesn't matter which group you go to, and bring the groups together. Yeah. One group is not better than the other. They're all equally bad. Bring them together, and let's open this up, this conversation. This is what I wish for the world. Anyway, take care. Bye bye.